Hey, it's Chuck Armstrong with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights On Demand. I don't know what else to say other than it was awesome talking to Shavo Odadjian of System of a Down and of the new band 7 Hours After Violet. This first aired on Tuesday, September 17th. Enjoy. Well, by now it's no surprise that everyone here at Loudwire, we're all pretty massive System of a Down fans, and needless to say, it's been a special year this year. We've celebrated new solo music from Serj Tankian as well as Serj's new memoir, and he's even hung out with us a couple of times on the show. Well, tonight I'm beyond ecstatic to say that we're joined by System of a Down bassist, the one and only Shavo Odadjian. Shavo, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, bro. Excited.
So listen, we're not hanging tonight to just talk about System, but we're celebrating a new step in your own journey with the band 7 Hours After Violet. Your self-titled debut is out on October 11th. How are you feeling right now, man?
I feel really good about it, man. For the first time in a long time, I decided to go and stay within my my roots of like what I do best and what I love to do the most, which is heavy metal music, and not just heavy metal, but like rock, you know? I've always gone against the grain. That's why you haven't really heard about my other projects too often, because they've been like electronic or hip hop or something with a different genre mix, because I thought System is heavy. So I'm going to keep only System heavy. But I don't know, man. Once I started again, it was just so naturally done. And, you know, I enjoy writing music. I feel sometimes, you know, I think to myself, I'm like, we got really big and then we stopped writing music. And I go, that's not cool, because now I want to write music, bro. I want to write, I want to perform, I want to play more shows. I'm that guy in the band, you know. I'm always the one that wants to do more. And so this is how I do more, bro. I had to do something.
Right on.
I had some new guys in, and as much as I love System, we're just not doing as much as I want to do personally. So this is the next best thing for me, and I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun.
Right on. I mean, listen, that's ultimately right. That's what matters. You know, there's a lot of things that matter, but I think the way you start making music that connects with fans is you got to care about it. You got to be having fun. You got to be enjoying it. So the fact that that's reality, man, that's great. And I can hear that on the music from this band. I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, you've only heard 2 songs, which is
I know.
Yeah, the album. See it. If I had it my way, we would have dropped different songs different times, you know. But I went with the flow of like, okay, I'll trust you for a second, but you know, we'll see, because the album will come out and you guys will hear the whole composition of what it is, you know. And there's a lot of different like varieties of cool heavy shit in there.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you. So, you know, the second I heard the first song you released with 7 Hours After Violet, Paradise, I was hooked.
Yeah.
We got it on the show that week, man. We celebrated it. And then the second single, Radiance, which is super powerful, but different.
Way different.
Yeah. So is that, I mean, these 2 songs cover a lot of ground. I take it the whole album does that.
And that was, I think, the reasoning for dropping Radiance second. In a perfect world, I would have dropped Radiance with the record, and I would have dropped a bunch of other crazy songs, because the album is, okay, it's like the only way I could compare it to System is when you hear a System record, there's a variety of different types of songs, but they all are in the same DNA, right? You can tell it's the same 4 guys doing it, and it's the same band, you can tell, but they do. It's not like every song sounds similar. It's just they sound like they're done with the same people. But there's a lot of variety, which is, I love singing, I love melody, and I love heavy. I feel like this album is that. It's like very melodic, like Radiance, but then it's very heavy, like Paradise. So you kind of got the 2 extremes. Now you're gonna get the songs in the middle, where like where I blend those 2 styles and a little bit of quirkiness, but not like, I never want to do what System does. And you know, it was kind of tough in the studio, because I write for System. I've written riffs and arranged things that, you know, made huge songs that you all have heard. So it's like hard to get away from that. Sometimes I write it and then it's like, fuck, that sounds a little too much like I would have brought that into System, you know what I mean? Because I did write a lot of music waiting for the next fucking record that everyone else is waiting for. I have like 100 riffs in my phone for the last 10 years, maybe longer. And I was going to use those for this album, but I said to myself, it's coming out of me. So why not just save those? And I always got those. And these are new and brand new, and it's kind of cool. because I've kind of developed in my songwriting as well.
So those riffs or those moments where you're like, oh man, that sounds like System, or that would be great for System. You set those to the side. You don't try to
Set them
force them
aside,
or
or
anything.
we try. Yeah, no, both, bro, both. There's some that I've set to the side, like the ones I spoke of that were written for System. But when something comes out of me that is for this band and it sounds a little like System, we'll change the drum beat. The vocals are completely different than System. So when the vocals come in, it already has another energy. But when I was writing it, we didn't have vocals yet. We didn't have a vocalist. It was just me and Morgoth. And Morgoth is like the sick fucking genius producer who, see, his style of producing is different than what I'm used to. So that's why I'm also a producer on the record. It's like the way Rick Rubin produces, he doesn't make beats for you. He doesn't do all that for you. He sits there, he listens, he says, okay, well, this verse can go longer. This part should be shorter. I don't like this. And then you can bring the chorus here, bring the verse over here, breakdown here, add to the breakdown. That's a different type of producing than beat style, where he's literally in there writing drum beats, programming, adding orchestra shit, which is stuff that I really wanted someone to be able to do so I could do what I do best, which is write riffs and put them together.
Yeah,
You know,
I love
so it was
that. I
a
love
perfect
that,
match.
man.
It was a perfect match. It was like he came out of the blue.
Yeah, well, and it seems like, man, it seems like you're really happy. Like I don't want to say freedom necessarily, but like there's a lot of happiness here
There
that
is,
you had.
bro, because I'm doing something that I wanted to do. Like, bro, I started young. I've been playing guitar, writing music since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And then we started System when I was like 21 years old. And we wrote a lot. Like, we played a lot. We would jam 6 days a week, and then we went on tour, and then years passed, and like, it was like 05, 06 where it just stopped. And it was disheartening to me personally.
Yeah,
And I'm only going to speak personally. I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm not going to
yeah,
speak about what other people felt. And I don't want to talk about others in this band, because that's to each his own, and let them speak for themselves. I personally was like really distraught. Um, I love that's a big part of my life until today. I still keep it alive. I think it's alive. That's why we have shows coming up, and so we have things we want to do. But the whole writing, that was, disheartening is the right word for that. That's
yeah.
how I felt. So I always did little side projects. Like, the first thing I did after the '06, hiatus, I'm really good friends with the RZA from Wu-Tang. So him and I got together and made music. We have an album that we never dropped. You can find songs that leaked online here and there, where I produced beats and wrote bass lines over his, over beats. And we had all these people, lyricists. It was like really dark hip hop with a heavy twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not what people know me for. So it's not what people want to hear me do. But I love to do it anyway. So I do all these things for myself. But like I said, this project has it all for me. And once you hear the record, you'll understand what I'm saying. It just has it all. It has every aspect that I feel like the fans want to hear like that. I want to play like that. Like, I would never want to perform the stuff I did with RZA on stage. It's not
Sure.
something
Yeah.
the road. This is. So originally, this project, the idea of the project was, started, me and Morgoth were going to write one song, and then we were going to kind of like, what he does is he writes music and then other artists perform it, right? So we're going to do that. And then like 2-3 sessions in, we wrote 2-3 songs, like literal, like not complete, but like the music, the instrumentals. And he came up to me and he was like, why don't we just do a Shavo record, bro? I'm like, I never thought of doing a heavy record. But those songs were extremely heavy. Like, we didn't have any radiance on there. It was just like fucking Paradise and more Paradise.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was like a light bulb came on. And I said, fuck it, bro. I get it. I get System was heavy. Why am I using that as a crutch to not do it again my way? Right?
No, yeah, totally, man.
And that's when, like, yeah, it changed. Everything changed for me.
You've stayed busy over the years. Is this the first time you felt like this though, since System? Like, we're
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, North Kingsley was cool too. But again, it was like this other subgenre of something. I was trying to make it. I made it heavy at the end, but you haven't heard those tracks. Like, we have North Kingsley actually has a full record that I've never dropped. That's heavy, and I took away a lot of the rapping from Ray, the singer, who was rapping a lot. And I said, stop rapping and start screaming. And he started doing, he's good at singing, by the way. As a kid who's fucking rocking. And he has his little solo project going on right now, which I'm very proud of him for doing. These are all youngins, you know what I mean? I'm working with young kids that are like, they're not kids, but to me they are kind of, and I'm proud of them when they do cool things like that. So I still have that record, and it was all beats. And then this is the first time you're going to hear this. This is the first time I'm even saying this. I had John play drums on the North Kingsley record. John, my drummer system.
Yeah.
So we have that record with John playing drums. So it's John and I in North Kingsley. But I'm holding that off because I think this is what I want to do. That's done, and I can always drop that. That's not something we tour with, that's going to be, again, music. So long story short, we were making this album, a solo record, and then we thought about, okay, who's going to sing, right? Because I'm not like, I've never tried, I can keep melodies, I can do all that. I've never used my voice singing wise. So it's like, I like others doing that. So we thought of maybe I was like, why don't we just get other vocalists, like every song to have a feature on there, like a DJ Khaled of metal,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got the surge vocals in you, that kind of And then, so that was the plan. And I talked to a bunch of people and they were down, and that's when the whole Jonathan Davis rumor came around, because I spoke to Davis and he's such a good friend of ours, and it was going to happen. But then what happened is the record became its own thing. And then I spoke to my manager and he said, bro, this is good. Like, you could tour with this shit. And I know you want to tour. He's like, but it's going to be really hard to tour if we have a different feature on every song.
Yeah.
You're going to tour. And that's like, dude, you're right. So back to the drawing board with the album,
Well, and you got an incredible vocalist with Taylor Barber, man.
Dude, Taylor came out of the blue too. Do you see? It's all like, it just kind of like a puzzle was formed, but I didn't have the pieces, and the pieces all kind of came at different times without me looking for them. They just kind of appeared. And I said, oh, okay, let me see if that fits. Whoa, that's a perfect fit. And Alejandro was like the last guy. I was looking for a lead guitar player because I wanted to have Morgoth in the band, even though he's a producer and I know he plays great guitar. But I wanted to keep him close, because he is a big part of this situation. Like, he's my partner, And so I was like wanting him to come on road with us and stuff. And he was just like, he writes so much and he produces so much music, so I didn't know if he can do it, but he can. So, but I was like, we should get a lead guitar player. And Alejandro came out of the blue. I guess Morgoth worked with him and Taylor on a Left to Suffer record and said, these two really work well together, but he's a sick guitar player. And I was like, I don't know if I want a second singer right now, bro. Like, Taylor's great. Like, let's have him do everything,
Yeah.
And when the vocal sessions happened, it was exactly a year ago in October. And Alejandro came through because he's also a great songwriter, lyric-wise. So he came in to help. That's how it all happened, bro. Like, I had already said he could be the guitar player, the lead guitar player, because I saw he shreds. That kid, dude. I'm so grateful for these guys. You don't even know. So he came in and his voice is like a fucking angel. Like, motherfucker sings like a canary, dude. I was like, let's include him. Let's do it. It was like a no-brainer. It wasn't like it was forced. I thought about it and it was, let's make this happen. It just happened.
Yeah.
And we started doing it, and it was 3 weeks. We locked ourselves in Morgoth's house, and he has a nice studio in there, and we just kind of did it, bro. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and it just happened. And well, I can't wait for you to hear the record. It's like, these two songs are cool, but I'm like this kid that wants everyone to see what I've done. That's what it is. No one knows yet. No one knows. A lot of people don't even know I write music, bro. They think I haven't written one song to System. I don't say me. I don't say I wrote all the riffs to Toxicity. I don't say that.
Right.
I don't. I wrote Sugar. You know what I mean? And arranged it and brought Darren's part at the end, and it became like, I had heard Sugar happen like that. I knew Darren had this cool riff from back in the day, which was the ending, the "fuck you, it all goes away." I thought of the rest of the song, and I was like, these two work well together, and boom, But I've never said that in an interview. I don't talk about what I've done and what I do. So this way, I said people couldn't even know that I write songs too. That's pretty cool.
Well, man, I just think about all that you have done, all the success that System has had, right? All the songs that you've had a hand in or you've created. to be at this point in your career, at this point in your life, and to be so happy like this little kid who wants people to hear every single song he's made, like that's got to be so cool. That's got to be such a good feeling, man.
It is, bro. I'm very grateful, you know, and
Yeah.
I count all my blessings, you know, and that's how you have to be in life. I've learned, you know, throughout the years of just like getting older. It's like, man, gratefulness is the number one key to life. You know,
that's it. Yeah.
You never look at what others have. You look at what you have, and you should be, man. You know, because it can always be worse. And this is advice I give to anyone, and I give it to my kids. You know, it's like be grateful for what you have at the moment, because what you have that you're not really seeing the value of can disappear, and then that's when you know. There's a great artist wrote a song one day back in the day. It said, "You don't know what you got till it's gone."
Yeah. I was gonna say, I wonder where Shavo's going with this.
That's where I was going with it, you know, and that's very true, bro. So it's like once you got it, cherish it, adore it, because nothing lasts forever, you know. And there'll always be new things, but never, you know, take anything for granted.
Man.
Yeah,
I love that, man. Shavo, it's so great to chat. Listen, before we wrap up, I just got to ask, and you know, I mentioned we've had Serge on a couple of times, and you know, he's always been very open about the band being a 4-vote system and all of that. And so, just like you, he speaks for himself. He doesn't speak for anybody else. But you know, just curious, you know, as excited as you are about 7 Hours After Violet, you know, how do you feel about the future of new music for System? Is the door open? Where are you at with that?
Listen, bro, my door is always open with that.
Right on.
Like I said, I have 100 riffs waiting if they need anything from me. Usually the way it would work was like Darren would come in and like he'd have complete songs, you know, which I fucking respect, man. The dude's a fucking sick ass songwriter, right? And then Serge would have songs he'd bring in complete. It would just be Serge's were a little different than what the mold of System became, right? So we would use some of it, but not all of it. And I feel like that's where the disconnect happened. It wasn't like someone fucking cursed anybody. It wasn't like someone banged anyone's girl or cussed out the mom. It was nothing happened that you can't like be cool with. It's not, you know what I mean? We're still cool with each other. We walk on stage. We love each other. So there's always going to be that. I want to always play shows with them. And, you know, you never know, bro. I'm always going to leave that door open. It shouldn't be shut. I think it's a fucking shame that it's not happening, because we can do so much. Look, we went in, we did 2 songs 4 years ago or whatever it was, 3 years ago.
They were amazing, man.
How they sound, man. I mean, that could be an album of that shit. And we can even write crazier songs. That was quick. You know, Darren brought a few of those in, boom, 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 but the song was done, bro. It was like 2 days. Like, imagine if us going in and writing actual music and, you know, caring and like about the album. And because we compose albums, we're not like songwriters. We're songwriters that make albums, you know?
Right, yeah.
All about the composition of the album. That's how I did this record, 7 Hours. Like when I sequenced it, I'm in that mind state of Rick and Darren and Serge and John, where we like to make the album like a DJ. Like one song goes into another, and the way we do our set lists, we like medley style. So I used that mentality, and it starts a certain way. Second song comes in a certain way. Third song. By the time you know it, the album's done, and you feel like you've only heard a few songs, but you've heard 11. You know,
man, I love it.
You got to hear it from beginning to end. Yeah, you got to hear it from beginning to end.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. So October 11th, the self-titled debut from 7 Hours After Violet. It will be here. Shavo Odadjian, thank you so much for hanging, man. Congrats on everything happening this year. I know we're just scratching the surface, but I cannot wait to hear that full album. Fans, listeners, you can sign up to stay updated on all things going on with 7 Hours at 7hoursafterviolet.com. Shavo, man, I hope you know the door is always open here. You're welcome on the show anytime. Hopefully we can hang again soon.
We'll speak again soon, brother. Great talking to you, brother. Be well.
That wraps up this episode of Loudwire Nights on Demand. Stay caught up with everything happening in the world of rock and metal on the Loudwire app and at loudwire.com.